All right, it's showtime, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Gray, and we're just plain living here.
I'm Peggy Burton. Good morning.
And I'm Jim Fuller.
How are you guys?
I'm excellent. What about you?
I'm hanging in.
Hanging in. What about you, Mr. Fuller?
I guess I'm hanging in there too, you know. Glad to be
It's been
here.
cool enough for you?
I think so. I believe it has been cool enough for me.
We might have killed a bug or two in the last couple of days.
Did y'all see
Hope
the
so.
blood moon the other night?
The blood moon? No, I was looking at the inside of my eyes about the time the blood moon was
Did you get up to see
Well,
it?
I watched for a long time and I thought, well, I'm never going to see this. But a lot of people put pictures on Facebook, so I watched their pictures.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating. It was a clear night, so it was nice.
Yeah.
You could see it.
I know the deer were everywhere.
Where they
Yeah, I guess they were looking up going, check that out.
Well, that's during their prime time. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You know, when I come home at night, if it's like 9 or 10 o'clock, I can see a line of eyes across the fields. And
Yeah,
they're
it's pretty
just
cool.
hanging out in
Over
the
there
fields.
where I live, I guess they've been there for years because
Yeah.
it's like you come in at night and there'll be 8 or 10 in your driveway.
know.
And like they're not running.
They
it's
don't
like,
mind. They,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, we're
Why are you in my
This
space?
is where we live.
Yeah, right.
What are you doing building a house here?
Right. Anyway.
Well, and the thing about it is as we continue to grow, we are taking a lot of their habitat, and
Oh, yeah.
they've got nowhere to go.
Well, now that's probably true, but now if you recall, many years ago, and those deer were brought into here from somewhere else. Remember, we didn't used to have deer here. Was that before your time?
And they were going to do something. What
I
was
forget
it?
what it was,
They were
but
gonna clean out
they introduced
something.
them out at Arnold Center.
Yeah,
brought them
well, they
into the-
introduced them to hunt.
Yeah,
remember that.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
What they did, that's
Oh,
why
okay.
that's why they put muskie in the lake
Is it-
out there. One of the generals who came in had been somewhere and he liked muskie fishing, so they put them in that lake out there. Well, when I was in high school, you could go out to that lake out there and you could catch 50, 60 crappie this big. Well, after about a year, those muskie being in there, crappie were gone.
Crappie were gone, right?
Because muskie's like a freshwater shark.
I don't
Yeah.
even know what a muskie is.
It's a big old fish about that long with teeth, all kinds of teeth.
And is it good to eat?
Evidently, it's a game fish. It's good to catch. I don't know whether it's
Oh,
good to eat
okay.
or
Yeah.
not.
I don't know, it spooked me
But
out
the
having those
crappie
teeth.
were good to eat, and the
Crappie
muskie
were
ate all of
wonderful,
them.
yeah. That's too bad.
You know, for
That's too
years
bad.
and years, it was rare to see a deer in town, but now they're just
now they're just
expanded.
making-
Well, how
themselves
many
at home.
skunks did you see in town? None.
Yeah.
Now there's
true.
skunks everywhere.
Yeah.
Because we're building houses on top of where they used to live.
Right.
You know, everywhere where we used to go quail hunt, rabbit hunt, or parking. Yeah, parking.
Parking.
Oh.
Now there's houses there. Where these kids go to park now?
That's an interesting subject, parking.
They don't do that
Have you ever
anymore.
been parking,
they,
Peggy?
They go, I'm not going to talk to you about what I've done.
Good.
We'd have to put
good.
an X on this thing.
Good play.
Kids nowadays just go sit on a bench somewhere and text each other.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. You know, I've noticed, and I think it's a good thing, that they've lit the high school parking lot. The big parking lot is lit very well, and that's where those kids meet up at night.
Yeah.
And instead of going, you know, there was a time when they would go to parking lots other places that were owned by businesses,
And now they
and
go
the
to the
business
high-
people
yeah.
didn't like it because there was trash left around and all of that. And so they've lit that parking lot up, and you drive, because that's the way I go home a lot of times.
Yeah, and you see lots of
and
kids
there'll
out
be
there.
cars, that parking lot will be full, and they'll be down there, they'll be playing music and talking to one another, and so that's their hangout.
That's their
and that's a
hangout.
great place for them to hang out at the high school.
Yeah.
Public property.
Sure.
Right.
So that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Hopefully they keep it clean.
They do. They put garbage cans out there and everything for them, and they police themselves pretty good.
Yeah, and back in our day, which was many, many years ago, I can recall that wasn't a big deal.
Plus.
Yeah, plus. And they just throw stuff out of the
Well, everybody
window.
did.
I know.
And everybody did that.
I know, I
and
hated
it's-
that. I always
butt,
hated that. If I had ever done that, my mother or father would have stopped the car, kicked me out till I picked it up and cleaned it up.
Yeah.
But, you know, we just were not allowed to do that.
I remember one
So I
time-
always hated it.
I remember one time we were in front of where the bowling alley was at that time, which is now the eye care clinic, and we're sitting there. There was 3 of us in the car, drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon. And
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
yeah, you could buy it for $1 a six-pack at that time. And anyway, the police officer came by and he said, "Fellas, y'all been drinking tonight?" "No, sir, we haven't been drinking." He said, "Get out of the car."
Oh, what?
We stepped out of the
You make you
car.
walk the line?
There were beer cans
Oh,
everywhere. I mean, surrounding that car, you know. Fortunately, he didn't take us to jail.
He didn't take you to
He did
jail.
make us, however, clean up the beer
That was
cans.
his
And
first.
go home. Y'all
And
go
that was his
home. I'm going
first
to tell your
mistake.
parents.
Yeah, exactly.
He right then enabled you for the rest of your life.
No, fortunately,
Yeah, I know.
I learned better as I got older.
I
But
know, I'm kidding you.
Did you watch any football this weekend, Peggy?
Are you kidding?
you should have.
No, I was doing the gala with the South Jackson
That's right. How
Street
did that
Band.
go?
I thought it was fabulous.
Did y'all have a good crowd?
We had an excellent crowd, and yeah, I thought it went really well. In fact, I
Good.
I didn't buy them, brought 2 members of South Jackson Street Band today to be on the show,
Oh, good.
so we can talk a little bit about
The band.
instrument. You know, we see so many guitars. We got a guitar, and he's a good one.
Yes, he
But we
is.
also have other instruments. So we have a guitar and a saxophone today, and me.
And you.
What
And
more
you.
could you ask?
Couldn't ask for anything more than you, as far as I'm concerned.
Anyway, we got a big event coming up in February at the Bell
It wouldn't have
Banquet
anything
Hall.
to do with Valentine's Day, would it?
It is the Valentine's dinner dance at Bell Buckle
Oh, wonderful.
at their banquet hall, and that has gotten so beautiful. Have you been there lately?
I hadn't been there in a while, but I need to go.
It's a lot bigger than it was when they first opened. It's expanded all the way through to the back, and the decorations are phenomenal.
Jay
Please.
Gregory is some kind of
He
guy.
is a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
He has done so much for Bell Buckle.
Oh, heavens, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Heavens, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
Yeah,
what we're
that's
doing
what we're
on
doing.
the 9th of February.
Did you watch any football?
I watched both of the games this
so
weekend.
I will doze off while y'all talk.
All right, you doze off, and we'll doze off during the music. No, we won't. 'Cause we both love
Okay.
music. No, 2 championship games, and both of them went into overtime.
Oh, yeah, unbelievable.
That's exciting.
So,
though.
yeah,
And
oh, it
then, of
was.
course,
Really
for
exciting.
years,
Great.
we'll be talking about the no call in the Saints game.
The no call, yeah.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
caused them to lose, basically.
Yes.
Some people say.
What does that mean? a
Well,
no
it was
call?
all, there was a minute
penalty,
for,
but
But
the
they didn't
referees
call it.
didn't
didn't
call
call.
it.
I mean, a blatant penalty.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And I don't know how you missed it, but you know,
Is
I'm
he,
there.
is he ever liable for anything like that?
Now, probably to tell you the truth, he probably will never get to be a referee in a
game like that,
in a
yeah.
championship game.
Is somebody going to
But-
jump his case when he gets up, when the lights go
I
down?
saw
Oh, his
Supposedly.
case has been jumped.
Yeah, I suppose that had started
Yeah.
that night, you know.
But you know, just like one of the guys said, 3 calls before that, the Rams, the Rams got a face mask that wasn't called against the Saints.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. Those guys are.
They just can't see
those guys, they
everything.
can't see everything, and it depends on where they're looking from.
Oh, sure.
You know, there were a couple of face mask calls or roughing the passer calls that they never hit him in the head; they hit him in the shoulder.
Yeah.
But where the official was calling from,
He didn't see
it looked
it.
like he hit him in the head. So
Yeah, and
they
I
threw a
think you're
flag.
running. Of course, we're in the era now of constant replays and instant replays and that sort of thing. But you run the risk if you just expand that to cover everything that the game will take forever.
Well, you know, but the thing
and,
about it is, and what they were talking about is, look, if you're worried about the game being too long, don't call anything early. But in the last 3 or 4 minutes of that football game, everything needs to be called.
Yeah.
And the coach needs to be able to call it. See, they don't review some. Some of the plays are not reviewable. They all need to be reviewable when they mean it keeps you from going to the Super Bowl because of a bad call, which
Well,
was
yeah.
blatant. When they put it up on the Jumbotron, everybody's going, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it
almost-
wasn't
it could
a
have been
reviewable
targeted.
call.
Could have been targeted.
Yeah, so,
and
but that's part of the game.
yeah.
Y'all are so knowledgeable.
Part of the game. And something else they'll probably do in the playoffs is you will be allowed to get the ball. Because what happened with the Chiefs and the Patriots is the first person that got the ball went down and scored, the game's over.
Oh.
So it
Yeah.
depended on the coin toss who was going to win that football game.
I've never liked that rule.
No.
I
So
mean,
each team needs to have an opportunity to get their hand on the ball.
Sure.
Because there was 4 lead changes in the last quarter. I mean, they were gunslinging. back up, back
Yeah.
and forth and back and forth. It was just great football.
I'm glad.
So, yeah.
I'm glad it was great.
And Tom Brady and Bill Belichick's brilliant.
He obviously is.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Take anybody, scrubs, whoever, he comes up with a way to make them win.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
That's interesting.
And Tom Brady, he's
still-
timeless. He just
He's
keeps
timeless.
going
He
up.
is.
and-
Class
I
act.
even understand
Yeah.
what he does.
Class
sometimes.
act.
Oh, yeah.
He takes care of himself. One thing he does is he is absolutely rabid about taking care of himself and his body,
And that makes
what
a-
he
that makes
does
a
and what he
difference in
eats
what he
and how he
eats, yeah.
exercises and plus he wants to keep that beautiful wife he's married to, so he ain't gonna get fat
Yeah,
and ugly.
because you know it's pretty amazing. He makes a tremendous amount of money, but she makes as much.
more money
than
She
he
makes
does.
more money than he
Well,
does.
I appreciate the example he sets for
Yeah.
young people, and
he always
I love
smiles.
that.
He's always smiling. He's almost unflappable, you know.
You know,
Everybody
you ta-
tries to get him and goad
Oh,
him
yeah.
and get him to say something negative
And he
and
won't.
nasty. He just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
do.
You know, I saw some pictures yesterday. You may have seen them as well about the New Orleans quarterback
Drew Brees. Yeah.
They lost the game. It was a tough loss. Went on
Yeah.
a no call. And after the game, he's got 3 small children, I think.
4, I believe. Man.
4
I think
is
it's
it
4. Yeah.
And after the game, as everybody's leaving, those kids wanted to play on the football field where their daddy played,
Yeah.
and he's out there
He's out there
Playing
playing.
playing football with them
That's
kids.
sweet.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah,
and
it's
kids,
great.
especially young kids like that, they'll bring you back to reality in a second.
Yes.
in a
They
second.
surely will.
And that's what he'll quit for. He'll quit to be when it's time. He's not ready to quit either. So like Brady, he's just turned 40.
Yeah.
But he said, you know, it won't be much longer that my kids will need me more than football needs me, and that's where I'll be.
Yeah.
Good man.
He
Yeah.
is a good
Good man. Yesterday's thought, because yesterday was Martin Luther King Day. 241. Many were brought, many sold, many died. Being owned breeds the desire to survive. Then the gift of a voice without fear did ring, and now stands on the shoulders of Martin Luther King.
That's
Oh,
great.
That
That's
is very
great.
good. That's
So-
one of your better ones there.
Dr. King, thank you very much for all you did. We'll be right back after these messages.
Keith Barnett here at Russell Barnett Kia in Tullahoma. Check out this 2018 Kia Stinger, yours today for only $370 a month. Kia is the power to surprise with its 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Stop by Russell Barnett Kia in Tullahoma and let us tell you why we are #1 in customer satisfaction. That's Russell Barnett Kia in Tullahoma, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, as we just said, yesterday was Martin Luther King Day. Our man with a plan, Mr. Andrew Todd, braved the cold yesterday morning and went down to CD Stamps and did some video and brings you our report on that event with Paul Cooley making some remarks and then the Martin Luther King March.
I appreciate all that have shown up. It looks like a good group going here, and you know, I'm glad. You know, it's awful. It's cold as it is, but you know, we got at least some warm thoughts here going. You know, so but I don't always do it. But it's good to have them anyhow, you know. But we're going to get ready to get started. We're going to have our Pledge of Allegiance. And I want, the thing I guess want to get across to you today is that, you know, we're not coming here as different groups, different ethnicities, different ways of thinking, different cultures. That's not really, we're here as Americans. That's why we're here. And that's really the thought we're going to have. And I hope that we don't have somebody who's going to be kneeling doing the pledge to the flag. We're just here as Americans. We're not trying to protest anything. This is a remembrance. This march is a remembrance march. And that's what we're going to set aside our petty differences and sometimes our big differences, but to be one in this country. And we got a lot, as Americans, we've got a lot of issues going on in our lives and a lot of differences. But there's some times where we can come together and just think on touching somebody else's life. When you see someone down, do something that's going to lift them up. You know, and hopefully this is going to encourage you to do some things in the community. That was part of what I really wanted to do, is be encouraged to touch somebody's life, you know, be of service. Bloodmobile is supposed to be here today, so if you want to donate blood, that's a service that you can do too, because it's badly needed in these days. I'm going to start a prayer, and then we're going to do the pledge to the flag, and then we're going to start our march. Okay, if you bow your heads with me. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for blessing us today, Lord. We thank you for bringing this group together in this town, Lord, in this country. Father, we ask you right now just to look on us as we travel, you know, up and down the street, Lord. Keep us safe, Lord. Lord, keep away those that mean to do harm, Lord. We want you just to look on us, Lord. Lord, let no harm come to anyone for any reason, Lord. Lord, we ask you just to touch, look on this city, Lord, and its people, Lord. And Lord, the memory of the one that we're here for. We thank you, and we ask you to bless us in your name. Amen. Amen. So, please, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Okay, there you go.
I did feel bad.
Our journey in this life, you know, we don't know when half of that is. We just continue marching. So there's a fight that we need to keep on working. That's something we got. It's actually done in your heart because you do simple things to show that you appreciate other people. Just in every day, saying hello. You know, give them some kind of cordial greeting. All those mean things to people. You know how it was, you guys remember growing up as a young teenager, this pretty girl spoke to you and said hi, you thought that was a date. You know, so yeah, that's the way it was. Okay, it was just me. I don't know. But what we gonna do, we gotta get ready to turn back around. So every little thing that we do gives people hope. Every little thing, even some little things, it gives people hope.
Tell you what, I'm gonna carry you up to this next street. Then we might be down there.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man who gave him a lifetime of nourishment.
He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching.
That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're pleased to have joining us on the set now Dr. Timothy Crater, and he is a new physician in town, relatively new physician, but you've already started seeing patients.
2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So he is with the Internal Medicine Associates, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Dr. Bills and Dr. Nichols.
Right. And many of you will recall Dr. Sanders retired about a year ago, maybe, something like that, or maybe a little less than a year. And you're kind of moving into that spot, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And you came to Tullahoma from where, Dr.
Kansas.
Crater? Kansas. Okay.
Yes. I had an internal medicine practice there for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
But my family are all from Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom lives in Birmingham, so we decided to relocate a little closer to her.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we're here.
And I understand you have 4 children?
I do.
4 children, okay.
They're all grown. Basically, I have 1 in high school and 3 in college. They're all in Kansas right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you ended up in Kansas. How did that happen?
I was in the Army.
Uh-huh.
Went to Wake Forest on an Army ROTC scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, of course, I had to serve. And I did my active duty service at Fort Riley, which is the home of the 1st Infantry Division.
Mm-hmm.
After I completed my service, I decided I wanted to be a doctor, so I got out and I went to K-State and did my pre-med, and then went to the University of Kansas School of Medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there on a rural health scholarship. So in order to have the state pay for my medical education, I had to serve in a rural community. And so after residency, which I did at UAB in Birmingham, I went back to Kansas and found a nice town to practice. And before long, I'd been there for 17 years. But decided to shift gears, and here I am.
Oh, okay. And you've already moved to Tullahoma.
Yes, yes, sir.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Tell our audience a little bit about this association you're with is called internal medicine, and that's your specialty. So,
Yes, sir.
What does an internist do?
Internal medicine physicians specialize in adult primary care for the most part. The internal medicine residency is 3 years, and it's all focused on adult diseases, meaning from 18 all the way through the spectrum of life. A lot of chronic disease management, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, things like that fall under the internal medicine category. When people are going to subspecialize in things like cardiology, nephrology, pulmonology, some of the basic, more specialized fields, they have to complete an internal medicine residency first and then do a fellowship. So internal medicine is kind of a foundational training for a lot of more specific medicine for adults. I did a 3-year residency, and then I decided that I didn't want to do a fellowship, so I went into primary care, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. What, being a doctor, I would assume, would take a lot of education, a lot of work on the front end. What motivated you to move in that direction and make that career choice?
I think when I was a kid, I had voiced an interest in medicine, and my dad bought me a copy of Grey's Anatomy, and it wasn't any kind of a fancy copy. It was just a regular copy you could get at the bookstore. And he signed it, and that was in 1977, and I always kind of carried that aspiration with me, even though you know how life takes you all over.
Oh, sure.
And I decided that after I'd spent time in the Army and overseas, that I wanted to go back to that desire I had and see if I could do it. And I think the Lord opened doors for me, and I was able to do it.
It's got to be, you talk about your training to get to the point of actually being a doctor. Talk a little bit about that. What kind of hours did you have to work, and what kind of
Oh my
training?
goodness. Well, you start out with medical school, which is definitely a full-time job. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many hours I spent just in study in that 4-year period. It's a tremendous amount of work, and there are exams you have to pass at each level. You spend the first 2 years in medical school learning the basic sciences, and then there's a national exam you have to pass before you can proceed to the clinics. In the clinics, you do 2 years of clinical training. You know, you rotate through all of the all the specialties of medicine: pediatrics, obstetrics, internal medicine, surgery, all the different types of surgical specialties. And then you take another test to see if you have a basic competence in clinical medicine. And that one you do at graduation, so that you can graduate from medical school. So the number of hours that are spent just in training there is tremendous. After that, then you do an internship. All medical school graduates do an internship of some sort. And there's another exam to make sure that you're clinically proficient. So there are 3 steps to the United States Medical Licensing Exam. After you complete those, then you complete your residency. Then you have to take a board certification exam. So the amount of education, the amount of training, and the length of time it takes to reach that level of expertise is quite a bit. I never thought I'd have to work that hard. I was glad to do it, though, because every time you would get into something that was difficult, it was just so fascinating.
Yeah.
That it kept me going. And more than just the medical part of it, it was the interaction with patients. When you see people battling things that are rare, or just the things we see every day, and you see how they deal with it and how much courage it takes to be a patient and to trust people with your life, it's really inspiring.
Are the stories true about having to work 24-hour days and
Oh, yes.
sleep in the hospital?
I've had rotations. Oh, absolutely. There's a work hour limit now on residents that wasn't there when I was a resident, and I had some weeks where I would spend 100 hours or more working.
Oh my goodness.
And then you'd spend the night on call, and you'd be up all night taking calls on sick people. UAB is a big hospital in Birmingham. And was very busy. So we'd be up all night. It was not uncommon to be up all night long, and then have to work all the next day. So the amount of time that you take to train is tremendous. It's a young person's game, I'll tell you that. I know I couldn't go back through it at my age and do that, but you just it's like drinking from a fire hose. You're in there, you're learning from the patients and the professors, but the volume of information and the pace is incredible.
It sounds like, though, that was something you really had a passion for. Though.
I loved it, yes. Yeah. And, I chose to train at a big university hospital because of the spectrum of problems that people come in with. Birmingham is a large city, and so we'd see everything, and it was a referral hospital too, so we'd see things from Mississippi throughout the state of Alabama, and so it was a great opportunity to learn.
I think I read something just the other day that someone, I don't know who wrote it, but they were talking about you're going to probably get the best care you can get anywhere in a teaching hospital because you're constantly going to be surrounded by a doctor, somebody that's...
Right, and enthusiastic doctors.
Yes.
Young people or people of all ages who really want to help, who have a mission. And I hope I've tried to retain that in private practice. I've got a big picture of Tinsley Harrison, who was a professor of medicine at UAB and wrote a major textbook on internal medicine that I have hanging in my office, because I want to remind myself of what it was like, how I, was dedicated to things. Because, it's like any other job. Sometimes you can feel like you're, just kind of going through the motions. But in medicine, you really can't afford to do that.
Right.
So I always try to...
You can't really afford to have a bad day, can you?
No.
You're right.
So I have things like that that make me think back on my training and give me some perspective.
You've been practicing, 17, 18 years now?
I've been, 20 years since I graduated from medical school.
Right. Do you still have... things that keep you awake at night?
Oh my!
The patients you saw today.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, because not everything is a very simple mystery.
Right.
Some things are complex, and if you look back on the history of medicine, those complex things and the things that keep people up at night are they're the driving force.
Right.
So, I've spent a lot of nights up at night trying to figure out what's going on. Did I do the right thing?
Right.
I think doctors I was talking to one of the guys I work with, and I think doctors are worriers by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we have so many things that we have to juggle, and you have to keep them all straight.
Right.
And so, there are a lot of things that keep you up at night. I think as you go further along in the profession, you realize that you have to live with a certain amount of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be there. You have to do your best. You have to stay current. You have to stay educated in the profession because it's always changing. Mm-hmm. But you have to learn to live with uncertainty. I don't know too many professions that don't, but like you said, in ours, it's high stakes.
Yes, it is high stakes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, real quick, you are seeing patients right now at Internal Medicine Associates.
Yes,
That's on Jackson.
Yes, it is, right next to the hospital.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
And you go ahead and give us that phone number in case they might want to call me.
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, you're not the first doctor I've ever talked to that hadn't been here long enough to remember their phone number.
That's a good question.
But I do know that...
I can give you my cell phone number, but I'm not sure I want to.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. My doctor made a mistake of doing that. He gave me his cell phone
number. Well, that's okay. I mean, you exercise judgment on who you give that to, but I think giving it out over the air might be a bad idea.
I agree. He is affiliated with Tenova, I think, though. Is
Yes,
that correct?
Tenova,
So
yes.
Tenova can always help you.
Dr. Bills and Dr. Nichols. Well, I'm
Dr.
right in
Bills,
between them.
right,
I'm in the
exactly.
office right between those two guys.
All right, so give Dr. Crater a call if you have any needs related to his field, which is internal medicine. Thank you so much for coming by
Thank
today.
you, sir.
Welcome to Tullahoma.
Thank you. It's
and
a wonderful
I bet
place.
You're going to do great here.
I hope so.
Folks, we'll be right back with more living right after this.
Have you heard the news? Russell Barnett Automotive Family has launched its new website, russellbarnett.com. Very user-friendly. Over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, online credit applications, hometown auto rental, customer testimonials, trade appraisals, certified collision center, service department scheduling. Too many reasons to mention why I keep asking the question, why buy anywhere else?
My wife Jackie has always been the life of the party, but things changed when she couldn't be as active anymore.
They told me I needed a double knee replacement.
It's not as big a deal as it used to be, but she still needed to go to rehab.
I was amazed at how good the therapists were at Life Care. They took really good care of me.
They took excellent care of her, and now she's back doing the things she loves, and that makes everyone happy.
Life Care Center of Tullahoma wants you to get active and live well.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Rickman. And this is Pat Welch. And John, we are here today for segment 96 of the Conversations with John and Pat.
Rolling.
Who would ever believed? What you got?
A Carter song. Old Carter family song. Keep on the sunny side of life.
Johnny Cash's wife was a Carter.
He married Jean.
Okay.
And then Maybelle Carter. She would play the auto harp or the dulcimer or whatever. They were truly Appalachian, you might say, and
didn't apologize for it.
And the old man, A.P. Carter, I think is A.P. Carter. Yeah. They would record, but he would go out in the mountains and pick up all these old tunes from mountaineers and people who were so far back in the mountains, all they knew was a few tunes. Grandpa told them or whatever, and I understand that's kind of where Tom Dooley, the song Tom Dooley came from, in a way. Not from AP, but it came from that sort of gathering information. Well, there's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and sunny side too. If you meet with the darkness and strife, the sunny side will all come to you. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help you every day. It will brighten up your way if you stay on the sunny side of life. Let us jade with the song Hope and Day. Though the moments be cloudy way if you keep on the sunny side of life. Nice little song. I messed up on the verses.
It didn't trip bad.
It wasn't too bad. You can get the gist of it, can't you, folks?
I thought I needed to bring the cheat sheet a little bit closer to you, John, but you handled that well. What we got?
You know, Pat, I hardly ever pick my guitar up unless I go out to play somewhere. Don't practice much, and it's probably very evident by what you see right here. But I hadn't tried that song.
Well, that's you know, you did a great job coaching my older son in track, and he used to like to talk about cross-country people, especially that didn't train much, but they'd run in races, and then in the year they've already run about 12 races, so they get a little bit better and better and better, even though they didn't train. He called that training by racing. So see, that's the same thing you're doing with your guitar.
Well, your boy was a champion.
I don't know about that.
He was a good guy, and all your kids are.
Yeah,
they're so much smarter than you, Pat.
True.
But they were good athletes. Good. Now, Martha didn't care about athletics. She was a good English student. She teaches English now, doesn't she?
She did a real good job working wrestling tournaments, but that was as a scorekeeper.
Was she voluntold to do that?
No, she just enjoyed it. Yeah,
I heard that term lately, volunteer instead of volunteering, you voluntold. Daddy told her to voluntold, told her. We're talking about the 1991 state baseball championship, either 90 or 91. June 1st, 1990 was the date on the newspaper I saw. I thought it was always 91, but maybe it's 1990. Well, you'll recognize some of the names, and I think it was 91, but who knows. In the state tournament, THS baseball team.
Now this would be our second one, right? We've had a segment on the 74
team. 74. Right. And I'm sticking with 91, but I'll probably get a lot of hate mail for this.
Oh, yeah.
No, everybody forgives us, Pat, because
it helps that nobody knows their P.O. box.
We try. The record for the THS baseball team that year was 29-5. That's a lot of wins, few losses. In the state tournament, they defeated Milam 3-1, and then they played Marion County and beat them 6-0, and then I guess turned around again, had to play them again 14-0. Marion County didn't score on them.
Were most of the losses in our district, like with the 74 team, had some close games with Franklin County?
Probably Franklin County. Okay. I'm not sure about Lewisburg. I'm not sure about them, but they did play them in the regionals. The finals lineup were these players. Mark Mattisitz at catcher. First base, Todd Waller. Second base, Andy Stone. Shortstop, Gary Phillips. Third base, Chris Rickman. Outfield, Kevin Suits, Craig Revis, and Tony Sherfield. There were 4 pitchers that divided their time pitching. Craig Revis, Chris Rickman, Mark Mattisitz, and Gary Phillips. And in the state tournament,
were they about even, John? You know, the 74 team had good pitching, but J.R. Fair was a really, I would say, shut them down in a really big game.
Jerry was a dominant pitcher, and these pitchers were good, but they were more of a balanced type of group, I'd say. And because it says, these are notes I took from a text I got from Mr. Jerry Mathis. Thank you, Jerry, for doing this. Never had the same pitcher in the state tournament. Each game there was a different pitcher. So that was shows you some of the balance they had.
Because I think JR appeared 3 times.
Yeah. This team felt that no one could beat them, according to Mr. Mathis, and they defeated Marshall County 3-0 in the final regional game. He said that Jason Lane Maxwell, who I'm familiar with. From Marshall
really
County.
Good baseball player.
I'm from Marshall County, know about this guy who went to the pros and played. Also, he played at MTSU before he went pro, and played with Chris and Craig there at MTSU. And I know a little story about Jason Lane Maxwell. He told this to those two boys when they played on the baseball team at MTSU. He said, we knew we were in trouble when we came to Tullahoma to play y'all, because 3 of y'all were standing on home plate and throwing the ball over the left field fence and and the ball was ricocheting off limbs off the trees out there in the left field.
Yeah, those pretty good arms.
That shows you some of the strength they had.
Who were those, John?
Well, I don't know. Chris was one of them, and then I think Chris told me, I'm thinking it was maybe Gary Phillips and perhaps, can't think of his name right now, but I will tell you, arms are, you can develop an arm, but there's a lot to just
throwing distance in the off season will pick up arm strength.
And Chris and those boys, they call that long toss. Jimmy Rickman and I one time were long toss in that backyard at Chapel Hill. Out back there was a walnut tree and still had hulls on the wall.
Is this when you were young or older?
No, we were older.
Did you go into rehab soon after?
We took those walnuts and we were trying to hit the barn roof. Then it wasn't probably that far because but we could not hit the barn roof with our old arms. And then Chris came out the back door and he picked up one and kind of flicked his wrist and it hit the roof. And it's
competition over.
You're born with a good arm. Sprinters I always thought are born. You can train them to be faster, but sprinters I think that's they're born. Craig Revis struck out 13 batters and they won because they felt they believed in themselves, and that was a quote from Jerry. And that team was a blessing to this community. They played well. I wish I had a picture that I'd sent to Philip to put on today. Put on that one we have, Philip. There's the one that he did receive, and I had one of the total team, and it didn't appear on his email.
Well, I hate that we didn't get the whole team, but the starters that you called out were awful good. Every one of them was a really good player.
They were. Yeah. And there's, you think about Mark Madison. He played at, he was a catcher. Now, when he pitched, somebody came in to play his catching position. They were a very important dynamic in that team. And you would have to think about Craig Revis being the same way, or Chris. I don't know who played third when Chris was pitching, or Gary Phillips.
Both of those played at MTSU.
Yeah.
Where did Gary play college ball? He was in the minor league system for a pretty good while.
I'm not sure, Pat. Yeah. I'm not sure. All those boys were very
Sheffield,
capable.
of course, was a great player and was in the minor league system for a while. That was one fine baseball team.
And, we haven't said anything about this in any of our preceding segments, but, we've got some good players in the pros right now. I know the two Sheffield boys, and then there's someone else. There's another guy that's doing real well.
He's with Baltimore.
Yeah. Gosh, Pat.
Oh, that's bad. We'll have to
think about that and maybe. Well, we'll just have to hang.
Next segment we'll have it, and that's because that gentleman's been a good player.
We'll try to bring that up another time. And thank you so much for listening to us about the 91. We assume it's 91, but it might be 90.
Tullahoma's second state championship team.
We know that for sure.
Right. We know who the players were. We just don't know when it was for sure. John, that finishes segment 96. Yeah. We were walking on the 100, and please come back and see, because I believe management's going to let us come back for 97. Thank you all.
talking history about this and that. It's Conversations with John and Pat, with John and Pat, with John and Pat.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Jacob. I'm the Rooster.
And I'm the Red Mane. And we would like to welcome you to
Roosterwear.
Yes, Roosterwear is a cottage industry producing accessories for men, women, children, babies, and pets. All items are hand cut and sewn locally. Roosterwear specializes in bow ties, pocket squares, scarves, cufflinks, neckties, and aprons of all sizes for all ages. Baby products include onesies, diaper covers, bibs, and burp pads. All bow ties, tie it yourself or pre-tied, come with an adjustable neckband. All products can be made with the material of your choice, as special orders are available upon request. Don't be standing back looking at fashion. Create your own with Roosterwear.
Come visit us at
roosterandredmaiden.com
to find our handcrafted designs for
the cock of the walk.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
To play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, go on and kiss me. Fill my heart with song, I want to sing forevermore. You are all I care for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. In other words, I love you. Hi guys, thank you. I finally made it in. I am so blessed to have the opportunity to spend a lot of my life with a whole crowd of men, and these are two of the guys that are in the South Jackson Street Band, and I'm so pleased to have them with me today. To my left is Jim Fitzgerald. He is a retired what?
Engineer,
and loves to play saxophone. Used to play with Tennessee Tech Troubadours.
I played 1 quarter with them.
And
yes.
Now he's playing with the South Jackson Street Band. If you don't know what this is, it is a tenor saxophone. Always loved the tenor saxophone. Ron Hackett has been on our show once before, and he is the president of the
Fayetteville Lincoln County Art Center.
I knew I couldn't get the whole thing. There's a lot to remember.
Yes.
When you get my age, you're doing well to remember words. So anyway, I am thrilled to have them. Ron does a lot of technical stuff for us. And anyway, our band last weekend played at out at Arnold Lakeside for the South Jackson Gala, and we have this show coming up on the 9th of February.
Yes, we do.
You want to tell a little bit about the website?
Certainly. The South Jackson Street Band, sjsband.com, that has links to all of our upcoming gigs. It has the links to purchase tickets, typically for the sites for the show on the 9th. You actually have to call a phone number. You can't actually purchase those online. But all that information is available on our website.
Right. You can
One central
find that
place to go
phone
for the
number.
information.
It's a beautiful place to go. You were with us last year.
Yes, I played last year. It is a beautiful venue.
The food is fabulous.
The food was fabulous. Lots of room for dance. So if you love to dance, if you love good food, you love good music, come on out to the dance on the 9th. It's $35 plus tax, I believe,
and gratuity. Yeah.
And it's BYOB. So.
And you do, right. Oh, there we go. We have a sign. How nice.
Yeah.
You do have to make reservations, and if you should be able to write that down, 389-0223. And they have also a website that's easy to access. You can just put Bell Buckle Banquet Hall, and it'll come up.
Typically comes up in the browser, yes, but sjsband.com, that's South Jackson Street Band.com, will get you there. We got links right there on the website.
We're linked to a lot of things. Jim, what made you want to get back into the saxophone? When did you start back after several years?
Well, I started playing clarinet in junior high school in Columbia, Tennessee, and played it on through high school. And in my senior year, I got into playing alto sax and tenor sax, and I've been playing it with combos and so forth since.
And I just want to say, it's important for people to stay involved in something that's not their regular job. And we obviously are not getting rich doing this, but we do it because we love it and we love the music. In Bell Buckle, I'm bringing Amy Beckstead to sing some. Jerry Anderson will be singing some. He does a lot of Frank Sinatra and little Elvis, and he has a great voice. And I'm doing, I love to sing, and I realize that I don't have the voice I used to have, but
you do a great
that's
job.
what I love to do. So when I was a little tiny kid, I was sitting on picking a stick, playing a guitar. Anyway, I appreciate the instrumentation that's in the big band, and we hope that some of you will get a ticket and come out to Bell Buckle to enjoy the food, the atmosphere, and get to see us play.
Come on out. We'd love to chat with you. Come up and talk to us.
We're 21 or 2 members for this job, I think, and we have a trumpet line of 4 and 4 trombones, and the rhythm section, Charlie Hickerson, and anyway, that's drums and guitar and piano and what else?
Five
Bass.
saxes. 5 saxes.
5 saxophones, which is They're awesome. Everybody's awesome. They're such a good group, and it's such a thrill for me to have the opportunity to keep. We've been doing this. I've been doing this since about 1993. Bob Carter is the person that I got started with, and Brian Guest had a lot to do with the band, and we have continued to play, and we hope we can keep the music going.
Absolutely.
What do you love about it, Jim, more than anything?
I just love playing music. I've loved music all of my life, and I will continue to love it. It's a hobby for me.
I can tell that, yeah.
Music just touches the soul. That's it's sort of the an inner way. You don't even have to speak the same language, but you understand the music. You feel the music.
I have traveled a lot of countries in the world, and there's no fighting when the music's going on. It's just really, it's an international language that we all love and enjoy.
Yes.
I know we have another song.
Yes, we do. We've got one by Duke Ellington. As a matter of fact, interestingly enough, he wrote this during the intermission of one of his shows.
You're kidding me.
So it came together quite rapidly. It became
genius.
very popular because it kind of expressed the opinion of jazz musicians at that time. If it don't mean a thing, if it ain't got that swing.
You said it. Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do what, 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 do what. It don't mean a thing. All you got to do is swing. Do what, 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 do what. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. You gotta give that rhythm everything you've got. 'Cause it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do what, 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 do what. Do what, 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 do what. I just thought I would mention, we have a lot of swing tunes, we have cha-chas, we have tangos, we have nice slow dances, just about any kind of dance that a great ballroom dancer or...
Yeah, we throw a little more modern stuff, a little bit of rock in there on occasions.
Oh yeah, we have some real good rock songs for this show. So we're looking forward to being in Bell Buckle. We hope you'll get a ticket and come up to see us,
Come up to see us sometime.
Yeah. I think we'll be back with something else shortly.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department need you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street, heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to bring you some more of Andrew Todd's report on Martin Luther King Day.
This is a time that we get to hear from different ones of you that are doing certain things in the community in order to serve the community, and maybe you have experiences in your life that you would like to share.
Good morning. I was humbled when Mr. Cooley asked me if I would speak for a minute, and I said, well, I'll be happy to. I don't know how much you're going to enjoy, but just going to share the experience that we had. My daughter and I, my daughter teaches in Chattanooga. She teaches in a school that is 100% impoverished children. Very few children speak English. And so she has inspired me a bit. I've been an educator for over 30 years, but this summer we decided to take a tour, and we took 3.5 weeks. Now, my summer as a school principal is 4 weeks in length, okay, to give you perspective. But we took 3.5 weeks, and we decided we were going to travel the Civil Rights Trail, and it was very interesting. The first thing we did is we flew into D.C., and as Mr. Cooley was referring to, we went to the National Museum of African American History and Culture. If you've never been there, it is amazing. It is worth a trip if you don't go to any other Smithsonian museum there. It's the newest Smithsonian in D.C. right now, but it is absolutely amazing to learn about the history. Of course, being an educator, I have a firm belief that it's very important that we teach our children about the history of our nation, because if we don't teach them about it, it will repeat itself. So it's very important that we teach it. We help them to understand the blessings that they have, how blessed they are to live in the United States of America, but also the journey that people have gone through to get us to where we are today. Yeah, there's a long way to go, but man, the miles that we've made is incredible. After that, we spent about a week there, and then we flew back into Memphis, where we got a rental car. And of course, in Memphis, we went to the Lorena Motel, which if you've never been there, and you stand on that balcony where MLK was shot, it is like a gut-wrenching experience to do that. And then after that, we had the opportunity to go to the National Civil Rights Museum there in Memphis, and then also to Slave Haven. I don't know if you've ever heard of these places, but guys, Memphis is not that far away. Go, do it, experience it. When you're at Slave Haven, you were actually under the Underground Railroad was, and you went down in the basement where slaves were actually they were held there. I mean, that was their slave haven. That's where they were kept safe, so they could go from place to place to place. You go down there, and they turn the light out, and you're in this tiny, tiny little wet room, and you think about people being crammed in there just for their safety. I mean, it is absolutely gut-wrenching. We visited Little Rock and went to Central High School, where you had the 7 students that finally got the rights to go into the high school. It's when the National Guard came in and said, yes, you're going to let these African American students in. But then to hear the stories, oh my gosh, what they went through. One of the stories was about how, they were spat upon, they were treated so horrible, and then, they weren't even allowed to go in the cafeteria. Like some of the kids would hide under the teacher's desk just for safety. And so just when you're there, you're experiencing it. I'm telling you, it was an amazing experience. We went on to Tallahatchie County, Mississippi, where we went to the Emmett Till Interpretive Center, Bryant's Grocery. Again, unbelievable. We went to New Orleans, where we went to the William Frantz Elementary, the Ruby Bridges story with that sweet little girl. Went to that school. And then what we did is we just went from place to place to place, just spending the night wherever we landed that night. Probably one of the most incredible experiences for me, all of it was amazing, but was when we actually went to Selma. And we stayed in an old Woolworths building that has been transformed into a beautiful hotel. But there was a beautiful writing piece that the owner of the hotel had written, and it said, it was very thought-provoking. It said, if you think of the worst thing you've ever done in your life, and then imagine if you had to relive it every single day, be reminded of it every single day. Because that's what people think of Selma. People look at Selma and think of, it's where the horrible marches were and the people were treated terrible, but it's a community that has moved beyond that. And so when you went into the Interpretive Center there, we actually went across the Edward Pettus Bridge, which again, when you walk across that bridge, I thought about it when we were walking today and it's in the cold, I'm thinking, this is nothing, It's a little cool out here, and we're walking 2.5 miles, knowing that, I think they said it was about 2.5 miles. It didn't seem that way to me, but, nobody was in fear for their life. Nobody thought of being injured. No one thought of, we were just taking a breezy little walk down the road, right? So when you think of what those people did, when you go to the interpretive centers, one of the coolest things is they will have actual videos of people today, modern day, and then people that have passed on that lived through the experience. And just their perspectives, oh my goodness, the wisdom was amazing. And so we, walked across that bridge, and then of course, what you know about history is they walked across that bridge one time and they were stopped. That's when they were pushed back and trampled by horses and all those terrible things. And then, that's when they went back, and that's when MLK got involved in it. And then that's when he led the march the second time. And, excuse me, when you see the actual footage of when they marched, and he was, and it was all about peace, guys. It wasn't ugliness. It was all about peace. But they marched across, and when they got to the horizon of the bridge, and they could see what was ahead, when he ordered them to stop, and they stopped, and you saw everybody in that group kneel to their knees, praying to the Lord. It was just amazing, and sometimes we don't, when we hear about history, God kind of gets left out of it. And that was the part that was amazing to me, is because our Father's the one that has helped us along. MLK was a man of God. And so, of course, the second march was not nearly as, it was brutal as well. It still wasn't totally successful. That's when they told them they gave them 30 seconds or 3 minutes to turn around is what they announced, but then they only gave them 30 seconds before they started trampling them. And then, of course, the last march when they finally made it across, and how they made it so far, and then so many people had to back out because only so many were going to be allowed into Montgomery. But just when you think about the determination of those people to make a difference, and then it also hit me thinking about those people were determined to make a difference, and a difference that many of them never saw. But my gosh, what a difference they've made for us, for you and I, and how that should be our journey, what we should do. We should be willing to do things that are going to impact eternity, going to impact other, in the future. And it's really an incredible thing. The Rosa Parks Museum in Jackson, Missouri is another one. If you've never been, Mississippi, if you've never been there, it was amazing. No, I'm sorry. I think the Rosa Parks museum is in Montgomery. That's an amazing one. I know in school, kids learn about Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, MLK, those are the two names you hear of. Those are the two names that kids learn about. There's so many people that were so instrumental. You know, you think of Rosa Parks on that bus. Well, I don't know how many of you know much about history, but I'm embarrassed that I'm an educator and I never realized it. But Rosa Parks wasn't the first one that wouldn't get up from her seat. You know, there were others before her, but they weren't people that they thought could get the right attention. Okay, MLK chose her because she was one that people would notice. And so when you think about that, when you think about there are so many unsung heroes, so many people that do so many amazing things, and they're not the person in the forefront, and that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean that they're not just as valuable. They certainly were. But when we walked across that Selma Bridge and you think about Bloody Sunday and then Turnaround Tuesday and all those things, I have to say, being an educator for 30 years, it's probably the most educational experience I've ever had. It changed me. It changed my understanding of things. Prior to this, you know, we got so many nasty things going on in our nation today, and prior to this, you know, you hear about statues being torn down and all this stuff, and my mindset was, my goodness, what difference does it make? It's a stupid statue. People need to get over it. But you know, I suddenly got it. It was on that trip that I got it, that no, it's wrong to have things that are so hurtful, that stand for things that were so wrong. And I get it. Now I'm not saying go out and tear down every statue, but I suddenly was able to understand the perspective of those that are so hurt by it. And that was what I believe is what God wanted to happen to me on this trip. The Civil Rights Museum in Montgomery is amazing. That's if you've never been there, you could take a vacation and just go to Montgomery and have an incredible experience. And if you have children, please take them to see these things. In Montgomery is the Civil Rights Museum there. A memorial is a memorial that actually you walk through, and as you go through there are these boxes. Have any of you ever been there? Okay, it's amazing. You have these columns that are hanging, and they're about the size of a coffin, and I didn't really get that correlation at first, didn't even think of it. But as you walk through, it shows every county and how many people were slain, how many slaves were killed, their lives were taken. And so you can actually get to Tullahoma, Tennessee, and you see the names are printed on there. And this is, of course, based on history, based on the findings. We know there are a lot of others. But as you walk through, it's mind-boggling. I can't explain to you what it did, except for to say that it really opened your eyes, and it makes you extremely grateful for the blessings we have today, and extremely grateful for the progress that we've made. I saw a cute little thing on Facebook yesterday, and it was a little girl and a little boy, two little boys, and one was a white little boy and one was a black little boy, and they had shaved their heads the same, and it said they shaved their heads so they would look alike. You know, and people chuckle when you see that, but I thought, how cool is that? Because little ones don't see color. And what a great day it'll be when adults don't see color. You know, we're all God's children, and color just doesn't matter. And so I just thought, man, wouldn't it be awesome if adults were doing that instead of children? And then, of course, the experience that I'll say had to take the cake of all was when I visited the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, and probably I feel like several of you have probably done that. Of course, that's the church where MLK Jr. pastored, and you get to stand behind the podium, and you get to go in his office, and then it is a full-blown worship experience when you go there. The tour guides are amazing, but I'm telling you, when you walk up in that chapel, the Holy Spirit is amazing. It is overwhelming. And you end up holding hands and praying and singing with people you've never seen before in your life and you're never going to see again. But wow, the experience. So if you've not done that, you definitely want to. And one thing I didn't realize is that his church was literally like right here, and right here is the courthouse where he stood on. I didn't realize it was that close, and how the government has tried to overtake that church. They've tried to buy that church, but because of eminent domain laws, they can't, which is a really cool thing. So anyway, I'm not real sure if I shared what you wanted me to share, but I will tell you that if you want to take a vacation of a lifetime, just pick one of these areas and go to those interpretive centers. They're free. Go through, I'm telling you, it's the greatest experience you'll ever be able to give any children. And as an adult, it was one of the greatest experiences I ever had because it changed me forever. It definitely gave me a new perspective and a new understanding and a new heart of gratefulness for where we are today. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Mr. Cooley, for allowing me to share.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. Uh-oh. I just knocked a tree over. This is the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel at the paint works where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan. You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, you know? They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the Paintworks at 1960 North Washington Street and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
All right, folks, we're back. And Peggy, I want to thank you so much for bringing the guys in from the band. That's one of the smoothest, calming segments that we've had on here for I don't know when. Just wonderful to listen to. That smooth, it makes you think of a singer that's a crooner.
Yeah.
You know, we just don't have enough of that
We really
anymore.
don't. We don't have it anymore. But as I was coming in today, Rod Stewart, have you heard his new?
No, I haven't.
Not
but
that new, but he
does.
He does a lot of the big band
stuff
now.
Yeah, I heard he was going to do
I'm proud
that.
of him. Yeah. It's different.
Who was the guy that was a crooner? Valentino. Rudy, was it Rudy?
Rudy Valentino. Many
croon
yeah.
and you know, was a big, good-looking Italian guy. And,
yeah, I think that's who it was.
I don't know, but no, I miss that kind of stuff. And
well, I wanted to let them know that I'll probably have. We have different kinds of music. We have rock, everything you can think of, and it's not just that kind of music that we played today, but a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I know. And hey, I want to remind y'all on the 25th, and I know this is the 22nd, Henry Cho is going to be at South Jackson Civic
He's
Center.
a funny man.
Funny man, clean comedy.
You can bring your children. That's
Bring your
what
children
I love
to
about
it.
him.
He's a funny guy and a good guy, internationally known.
Right.
So, I mean, he's a great act, and he's been coming to South Jackson for several years now. If you hadn't seen Henry Cho, get you a ticket and go see him. You'll be glad you did.
You'll be glad you did. He is a funny guy, and you know, there's so many comedians nowadays that have, their mouth is so foul.
Well, they're just
but
nasty.
He is funny. I mean, he's just automatically funny.
You know, and there were people back in years ago, Milton Berle and Red Skelton, and you know, you can be absolutely hilariously funny without being vulgar.
If you're smart.
If you're smart.
Yeah, if you're real smart.
If you all you're gonna be is vulgar, it's because you don't have a better vocabulary than that.
So, Larry Winters, get your act together.
There you go.
And come to South Jackson.
There you go. There you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show today. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.